Hello, everybody, and good evening. I'm glad that you are here today, back for another premiere video. Sorry, not live. Won't be live Thursday either. Probably not next Tuesday. It'll be the following Thursday when we'll be back live. But the end of the month here, July, that's actually probably the time that the baseball games are going to be done. And so we should be back to our normally scheduled program. But sorry, got to go watch my kid play. Not sorry, actually. But I'm glad we have this opportunity. We can still be together, still be in God's Word while we are going on our journey together. It's good to be back, good to be here, good to see you. Hopefully you feel the same way. Good evening to you. Hope it's not too hot. Hey, question to start us off for the day, since we usually have a question. How do you handle the stress? I know you're stressed, or at least sometimes you're stressed. What do you do? How do you handle some of the stress? What are some things that you do to kind of get through the day? I know sometimes people, when they're really stressed, they will go for a walk. Was that you? Put that down in the comments below. Whatever you do to help alleviate the stress, handle the stress, manage it, let's talk about it. I'd like to hear from you as to some of the things that you do. Maybe you do. Maybe you work out. Maybe you like to go on a long walk, or perhaps go to the gym. Pump some iron. Maybe you just like to do aerobics, some cycling, spinning class. That's a thing, right? I don't know, jazzercise. I'm not a jazzercise guy. You can probably guess that. But some of you might really enjoy doing that. Perhaps you like to do sports. Go shoot the basketball at the gym. Go for a jog. Maybe you like to shop. I can't say that that's probably the best thing to do, but if you can control your spending, then you can shop. Just you like to walk around. That's fine, right? Some people like to eat. I'm kind of guilty of that, right? You find some sweet stuff, and man, I'm stressed, and right, just devour the whole box of donuts. I've never done that, but I've done more than I should before, right? Or a bag of Oreos, or let's not go there. But that's how some people choose to handle the stress. Maybe you go for a drive. Get in the car, just go. Go somewhere you've never been, or perhaps go somewhere you haven't been for a while. If it wasn't during a pandemic, you might say, you know what, when I'm stressed, I like to have some people come over. And we like to hang out, visit, relax. Maybe go to the movie theater, but it's hard to do that right now, isn't it? So what do you do to handle the stress? There's good ways, there's bad ways, but maybe you like to shoot. You like to go to the gun range, blow off some steam there, which I'm glad it's at the range, right? That might just be some things that we do, and we need to do it. This world isn't easy. It's not stressful. Just because we're Christians doesn't mean we always know how to handle these things. We're Christians, but we're sinners, and we still can fall into the old Adam and do crazy things, right? That's why we need to be able to figure this out. Our bodies need us to get rid of the stress too, doesn't it? Yeah, we weren't created to bear all of this. That's what our God does. He's the one that is the bearer of the stressful things, but just sometimes we just want to hold on to it, right? Now, for me personally, when I'm stressed out, when I have some things that are on my mind or I'm not sure what to do, I'm one that likes to go for a walk. And really, that's always been a good way for me to get rid of some of the stress, because my mind doesn't seem to be working as well if I'm standing still or just sitting. And I think science has proven that's typically the case for most people. You've got to move, get the blood going for the brain to work a little bit better. So if it's a tough decision that I'm trying to make, maybe it's within the church or even for our family, let's go for a walk. Let's let things kind of marinate a little bit up there while we are journeying. There's been some times where I wasn't sure how a sermon or a Bible study was going to go on a particular topic. And I have all of the notes and everything in front of me, but just something isn't clicking. It just doesn't make sense. I get kind of stressed about it. So I go, you know what? I need to go for a walk. I need to talk this out. And I will. See me go and talking to myself. My wife says I do it all the time, and it's true. I'm talking to myself a lot. But it's talking in the Spirit, so it's different. But it's true. I mean, I think some sidewalks have heard some of my worst sermons. But they've also heard some of my best sermons, because it's way there without an audience, unless people are looking over my shoulder. But it's just to really get it out there, right? And see how this develops so that things can get to where they need to be. I've always done that. I liked to do it in seminary, college, Even in high school, if something was stressing me out and bothered me, you just got to go, got to do something else. I got to get away. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit when we are talking about the call of Abraham. Now, I'm not saying he was stressed out. No, there's no indication that this was the case, but the Lord is going to call him to go for a walk, and it's going to be a rather long journey. But in having this discussion, though, I kind of want to ask you now, before we get into the story, what is it that's stressing you out? Maybe you're stress-free. Maybe you don't have a single burden on your bone. But it's highly unlikely. We all have some stress about something, or anxiousness, a little bit of anxiety. Let's think about some of these things, shall we? Okay, throw out the obvious, the COVID-19, yes. Illness, am I going to get sick? Is my family going to get sick? Will we be able to cover? Or is it someone that I know, my aged parents? Are my children going to get that really, really rare one where they have the lingering effects? I mean, I don't even think about that, but it crosses someone's mind, right? It's school, wow. Every parent right now is thinking about school. Whether you're 100% certain that they should or shouldn't go, you're still concerned whether or not you're making the right decision. As a teacher, you're probably a little bit concerned. Am I going to do whatever I can to make sure that the kids are going to be healthy? I'm going to try, but will they remain healthy? Will I get blamed for it, right? Will I be able to stay healthy? Will I be bringing sicknesses home? And we go through these things every year anyway, but it's certainly different this time, especially after this longer layoff. Stress, will I be able to see my family in the nursing home soon? That keeps getting pushed back. Some are able to do that, some still aren't. This is difficult. Financially, people are struggling right now. I don't think it's a secret, and I don't think she'll mind me saying this, but my sister right now, she's not working because she works for a theater company. Can't sell tickets to a theater when people have to stay 6 feet apart, right? You can't make money as a theater, and so they're all laid off right now, trying to figure out how this is going to work in the future and how long it's going to take. You have the masks and the no masks and the mandates, and trying to figure out whether something is good, whether it's not, and having these discussions and talking with different people, and they're all stressed out about the same thing. And then when you're coming at it from different points of view, are we going to collide? Can we see some agreement on this or not? And I mean, this is just a few of the things that I've mentioned that I am sure are racing through our minds that probably is occupying a lot of our time right now. I'm sure it is. It is for me. It's got to be for you whether you realize it or not. Reading through some of the chats about these ideas and what people are thinking about. And the reason why we're continuing to watch and to look, it's because we want to know we're making the right decision. We want to make sure there's some education behind it. And this is stressful. It's hard to do. And we've been doing this now for a few months. It's not like this is new. And maybe that's what is still making it rather hard, is that there's no end in sight. We don't know when this is all going to die down. And numbers go up and they go back down. And it's hard. It's hard. How are we going to handle that? Well, I want to look at how God is going to handle a rather interesting situation. You can call it a pandemic if you want, an illness. It's sin. Sin's in the world, right? How are we going to deal with that? Well, God dealt with it once. Let's send the water and the rain. The rains will come down, as well as the releasing the water in the depths, and we're going to flood the entire earth. Everybody's going to die. We're going to start over with just Noah and his family, right? And everything's going to be good from there on out. Well, it's not, and God knows it's not going to be good from there on out, but I think it's important for us to see. If one person survives, or one family, there's still going to be that sinful pandemic, that sinful disease that runs rampant. It is contagious, 100% contagious, and it's 100% deadly. If you are a person, you're going to get it. If you get it, you will die. There is no other hope other than, well, God stepping in and doing something about it. So, He's going to start the course for this great and wonderful plan through this man named Abraham. Now, Abraham in itself, he's not this outstanding individual. He didn't do anything to earn God's favor, but God chooses him. He says, I want you to go. In fact, I'm going to read it right now. Let's hear what it has to say in Genesis chapter 12. Now the Lord said to Abram, and I'll probably say Abraham, and I'm just going to, because I always confuse them anyway. Go from your country, your kindred, and your father's house to the land that I will show you. That word go really actually means journey or walk. So go for a walk, start a journey, go to the place that I'm going to tell you to go to. All right? And I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great so that you will be a blessing. See, so he's not going to be a blessing just in himself. He's going to be blessed so that he can be a blessing to other people, the generation after him, but also to other nations who will see him as a great nation. And of course, yes, that's the promise for you and me too. All right, so where do we go from here? I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. All the families of the earth shall be blessed. So Abraham went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. All right, I'm going to pause this right here. I'll be right back. There's a horn honking, and it's going to drive me crazy even if you can't hear it. So I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I think we're back now. The honking has stopped. That would have driven me crazy. So we just finished reading about Abraham and how he went and how he walked. Now, what do we know about the journey? I'm not going to go into the whole story of Abraham and Sarai, but eventually they get the child, right? And they walk and do what God has called them to do, but they don't do it perfectly. I mean, that's what's very interesting about this, is that you look at Abraham, he walks, and God walks with him. He really brings him along. Then you get to Isaac, and Isaac doesn't do everything perfectly either, and God continues to walk with them. And then you get to Jacob, and Jacob really doesn't do everything well. Jacob is the master manipulator. I know that because I share the name, right? And then you get on to the rest of Israel, which we have done as a church going through the story, and the walk, the spiritual walk of the nation of Israel is one that's lackadaisical at best. Really, it's not good. In the midst of their journeying, they're wanting to go wherever they want to go. They're not following God, not following His lead. And that's easy to do too, isn't it? Not following God, not following His lead, maybe getting wrapped up in the world that we're in, the stressors of everyday life where we are getting consumed by them. Maybe we're being devoured by them. So one thing that I want us to focus on, or maybe even think about, while we're on our walk and going through our spiritual journeys, is think about that one walk that was taken for us, that one important journey where Jesus walked from where He was tried, where He was scourged, then to the cross, to Golgotha, with the beam across His back, in so much pain, hurting so much that He had to have another individual, Simon of Cyrene, help Him along the way. You know, the book of Romans talks about it this way: while we were sinners, while we were enemies of God, Christ chose to die for us. So if God showed this great love for us while we were His enemies, while we were the adversaries, think about what God will do for us as His children, which we now are. I don't want us to forget that while we are in isolation, we're not isolated. Maybe more than we're used to, but we still have one another. But we still have a God who is with us. God doesn't have to keep that 6 feet of distance. God doesn't have to have a long-distance relationship with us. In fact, He doesn't. That's why He came to be the Emmanuel, God who is with us. And He is a God who is still with you on your journey. If God died for you, He certainly wants to remain with you. But see, let me ask you a question. I'm going to end with this. Are you walking with God? I believe when all of this started, this nation, our church, our community, we were quick to pull out those Bibles, to go to the Lord in prayer, to be present for these devotions, and maybe even have them ourselves. But I'm getting this sense that some of that's starting to fade. We're starting to get back into maybe some of those old routines. Friends, the most success that Abraham had, that Isaac had, that Jacob had, that Israel had, was when they were walking with the Lord. That's where we find our strength. Not having the right answers, not having the solutions to the problem. No, our walk with the Lord is what we need to find the right solutions, to take care of some of these stressors. It's His presence that makes all of the difference in the world. It's His presence in our life that brings us the peace that we need the most. It's His presence in our lives that allows for those burdens to be lifted up, that He can take them away from us. And yes, He's the one that should have all of those stressors. It's true, our bodies can't handle them on our own. So let's not pretend that we can. Let's not even try. Instead, in our walk, let's walk with the Lord, trusting in Him, bringing our issues to Him, our challenges to Him, knowing that He has them. And He has us. No reason to stress, no reason to worry, but let us just keep walking. Walking with Him. No better company to keep. Amen. Hey, good to see you, everybody. Have a great rest of the night. See you Thursday.